As we've already mentioned a couple of times tonight, the Springboks will be back at the Westpac Stadium, the same venue where they beat their arch rivals New Zealand last year. This time the hosts will have a different mindset, and this is shown in the personnel that they've chosen for this clash. And tonight we have sports journalist Thando Mxoli to help us dissect this match. Good evening, Thando, and welcome.
Hi.
No stranger to the show.
Definitely.
So first things first, before we speak about this encounter tomorrow against New Zealand, let's speak about the Boks performance. I mean, last week against Australia, really a solid performance coming from them.
Definitely was, and it was an impressive performance by what many people termed a second team. A lot of players like your Herschel Janchis, Lizo Koboga, even Marvin Ori, a couple of them came in and actually proved that Super Rugby form can be taken into the international scene. It was really nice to watch the Springboks doing what they do very well at Ellis Park. We all know their record at Ellis Park, especially against the Wallabies.
Yeah.
They haven't lost there since, I think, 1965. So against the Wallabies. So it was nice to see. It was refreshing to see. And it was also nice to see a lot of players proving that they want to compete for first team places.
Yes.
They don't want to be on the bench. They don't want to be in the squad. They want to be considered as starters, and that's how it should be. Like a player like Herschel Yankees around this time, he was making his around this time last year. He was making his Currie Cup debut. Now he made his debut for the Springboks last week. That's what you're looking for. When a player gets an opportunity, they should take it.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, what we definitely need to see in the Springboks, just the players being kept on their toes and not so much of certain players having a guaranteed almost spot in the team. And this is why we're seeing this good performance from last week.
And I think Rassi alluded to that. He said if guys want to be on that trip to Japan, they need to prove themselves every time they get onto the field.
Yeah.
A guy like Luat Thiago, for example, has had injury problems even in the last couple of seasons, actually. But every time he's put on that jersey, Siya Kolisi is another one. Every time they have an opportunity to play for the national team, they give their all. And no one faults their inclusion because everyone remembers how well they did on the international stage.
Yes, certainly. Now let's speak more about the team for tomorrow's clash against New Zealand. Let's talk about the captaincy first of all. I mean, we've got from Yulan, this is his debut as captain. What do you make of that decision to choose him over Eben, who did such a great job in last week's game, which we've already spoken about?
The Springboks have got a leadership group of proven leaders.
Yes.
Dwayne is part of those is part of that leadership group. So is Itzebeth, so is Beast, those kind of guys. So giving him the captaincy is not the worst thing in the world, because a lot of people have said if Sia, for example, doesn't make it to the World Cup because of injuries, and luckily he's actually getting better fitness-wise.
Yep.
Dwayne is a natural person to take over from Sia ahead of Itzebeth because of the experience and what he brings to the team. A lot of people have talked about his presence and how he's a calming influence and also a motivating factor to teammates around him, both young and old. And for me, it's not a bad choice. The leadership group will still make the decisions on the field, whether it's backline decisions or team decisions. He will not do those decisions. He will not make those decisions in isolations. So he's always been helping Sia leading the team as well, whether it's a Stormers or at international level. So it's not the worst thing in the world. It's also nice to see that we've got leadership options for the Springboks. So injuries are a real thing and they can happen at any time. So why not give it to him?
Okay, and then just looking at the two teams for tomorrow, we've got the Springboks, we've got New Zealand. Which team has the edge and where exactly?
The All Blacks have the edge for me because, look, in the forwards, it's a collision battle. It just depends on the day who wins because both of them are very capable. But in the back line, New Zealand have got some real firepower.
Yeah.
The inclusion of TJ Perenara also, it talks of a different mindset in terms of game plan. He can play a slower game to an Aaron Smith, for example. He can assess situations better from the base of the rack. Richard Mwanga at fly-off is also another player whose Super Rugby form has seen him get a nod and get a notice at international level. Everyone has said you can't drop a Bowden Barrett, for example, because he's the best in the world. But Richard Mwanga's Super Rugby form has forced his way into the team, and that's what you're looking for. you're looking for people to not just knock on the door, to kick down the door if need be. Richard Mwanga is one of the...
And just walk in claiming it all.
Yeah, and that's what you want, man. You look at how Richard has played in Super Rugby in terms of how the Crusaders play. A lot of the attack comes through him. He also has the game management that can succeed at this sort of level. So it's in the midfield, in the back line for me, where the All Blacks have the edge, because you pair up Richard Mwanga with Sonny Bill Williams, who's also very good with ball in hand.
Yeah.
Against our backline, which is they're very direct.
Yeah.
And if your defensive system is organized, there isn't a lot of ball going through to people outside them. Damian de Linde, for example, is not known for his hands. 100 Pollard, yes, he's always testing the defense, but the problem is passing the ball to Damian de Linde, who a lot of people have criticized in the past for saying, look, you're a center, but you're not putting the people outside you, putting them away. So, yeah, I think that would be the deciding factor between the two teams, the midfield and the back line.
The midfield and the back line. Now, we're talking about the edge, and you're saying that New Zealand has the edge. And as South Africa, we are coming in on a high from our win against Australia. So how much weight do we actually put on this game tomorrow? And how much weight do we put on a win or a loss going into the World Cup?
Look, pride will always be a factor when these two teams play, but ultimately, Rassie Erasmus has to take the emotion out of it and look at preparations, because we're preparing towards a World Cup, and we need to start executing in a certain way. Combinations are almost finalized by now. It's just one or two things that need to be tweaked. This is a tweaking process for the World Cup. Yes, it's important, like I said, to win an international match, especially away from home against one of your arch rivals. But for me, what is more important is how we play. Yeah. That will give us the momentum going forward. We need to start executing our play a lot better, and this is the best platform to do it against the best. We need to show that our top players can perform against the best players in the world. We need to show that our game plan can work against the best defensive system in the world. Hence, for me, this is just a dress rehearsal, basically, for the World Cup. We are playing the very same team in the opening match, in our opening match of the World Cup in Japan. So it's a good tester against a very, very good team.
Certainly, certainly. And now just quickly, because we are running out of time, your predictions for the game tomorrow. I know you said New Zealand has the edge, so does this mean that you are saying you think New Zealand will walk away with the victory tomorrow? I
think they'll more than just walk away with it. I think they'll run away with it. I think New Zealand, the players they've chosen, give me the sense that they will run us out of the park. They've got smart players out wide and in the midfield. They've got good ball players. I think it will be a comfortable victory for the hosts.
Okay, well, thank you so much for talking to us today. And I mean, like you're saying, we are all about the tweaking now and making sure that our team is ready for this World Cup in Japan.
It's a learning process, and in time, we should be looking at the World Cup and not a rugby championship. No one really cares about who won the rugby championship on the eve of a World Cup. We rather do well at the World Cup. Those are the results that matter.
Okay, well, Thando, thank you so much for joining us this evening, and thank you so much for your insights.
It's a pleasure.
Always good to just pick his brain and find out all about that sporting knowledge. Unfortunately, we have come to the end of our show for tonight, but do remember that you can keep in touch with us on Twitter. Our handle is @SABC Sports Live,